Hmm. Welcome to another session of the Tao of Women. I never cease to be amazed by the timeliness of these passages. So as we gather live here on Zoom, I bow to you on Facebook and on YouTube. And all of you that are joining us live and on the replay, your presence is meaningful and truly felt. And as we prepare to receive today's passage, just simply taking a nice deep breath, calling the parts of yourself here, as if you could clear away all the busyness of all the things you were just doing. So you can have a few moments to honor the wisdom of the Tao within you and within our circle and within our life. So one more deep breath, anchoring ourselves in the present moment. Emptying out so we can receive the Tao. And this is passage 32. And it is called the Tao. Women and men, the Tao. Men and women in harmony reflect the Tao. When working together, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Man is not greater. Woman is not more beautiful. Words are but reflections of the person who speaks. The rivers run separate courses only to merge in the ocean, and the earth accepts the sun at the end of each day. Depending on your perspective, the sun is in the noon sky, is either rising or setting. Let's just take a deep breath and receive this one more time, the Tao. Women and men, the Tao. Men and women in harmony reflect the Tao. When working together, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Man is not greater, woman is not more beautiful. Words are but reflections of the person who speaks. The rivers run separate courses only to merge in the ocean. The earth accepts the sun at the end of each day. Depending on your perspective, the sun in the noon sky is either rising or setting. Here's the character for the Tao. One of the few characters I can just simply paint. And then here beside them, tiny, are the Nushu characters, the hidden language of women for Tao and harmony. So let's practice gathering your everything you need, clearing your space. Let's explore harmony, men and women together, creating the Tao. And so as we do, start to feel yourself arrive in your space, start to feel your feet on the floor, make yourself comfortable. Feel your knees softening, the top of your head lifting as you arrive here. In this movement, I'm going to actually step out a little wider and sink down a little deeper. This is called Zen Circles, and we'll explore it in relation to this passage. but just take one hand and place it behind your back. Like rest your hand on your sacrum. The other hand, lift it up. Settle into your stance. Turn toward your hand. And I'm going to give you the structure and then we'll drop into the flow. As you turn toward your hand, we're about to start this practice of wholeness, of harmony. And we're going to explore. So as we do, we explore, we sink down and we dip down. And as if our hands are making a big scoop, like we're making the bottom part of a circle. And as we stand up, our hands are about to make the top part of the circle. And as we turn our waist, our hand reaches right at the midpoint, right where the sun would be at noon. And at that point, our hand starts to turn away from our body as we settle and sink. And we dip down and gather, creating the bottom of the circle. We rise, creating the top of the circle. At high noon, we turn and we sink. Breathing in as you rise. Breathing out as you turn your hand and sink down. Dipping down into the yin field and rising up into the yang field to the rising sun. And setting down, receiving the setting sun at the end of the day. Now, the passage specifically said men and women. It didn't say yin and yang. And I feel like that is important right now. If you have been on social media or in conversations, you can see in this moment today, as of this recording, in our culture here in the United States, there is a conflict between men and women's roles, who they should be, what they should say. Men's rights, women's rights are not equal. And so in this moment here, we're practicing the Tao, harmonizing the beauty of men and women and the strength of men and women so that they can work together. Because depending on your perspective, the sun at noon is either rising or setting. So let's just drop in. Now you no longer have to dip down. We're staying in this circle, this Zen circle. It's called Zen Circle, creating harmony, wholeness, completeness. We're still sticking with the principles of sinking, rising, turning, creating soft, smooth, harmonized, whole circles that contain both elements of the rising and the setting, of the yin and the yang, and of the masculine and feminine. So while we are embodying the Tao, and we are crafting and creating a reality in which we choose to live, let's smooth out the rough edges of these conflicts. And let's see the beauty of men as they rise. And let's honor their strength as they set. And let's see the strength of the rising women and their beauty as they set like the sun, mixing men and women, mixing strength and beauty, smoothing out this conflict, seeing that we are all whole, whether the sun is rising or setting. We all merge in the ocean of one whole unity of humanity. I'm going to be silent for you to be in this movement so you can feel the smoothness, the strength it takes to rise, and the control and grace it takes to set and settle. The conscious awareness it takes to smooth out the rough edges, for you to stay attuned to your center, attuned in your posture, for you to move gracefully and peacefully in alignment with the Tao. And now, while you're in your practice, stay in your practice, and I'm going to read to you the passage so you can integrate it more completely. The Tao, women and men. Men and women in harmony reflect the Tao. When working together, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Man is not greater. Woman is not more beautiful. Words are but reflections of the person who speaks. The rivers run separate courses only to merge in the ocean, and the earth accepts the sun at the end of each day. Depending on your perspective, the sun in the noonday sky is either rising or setting. So as I join you, if it feels good to do so, just simply switch sides and we will explore and balance out this movement, exploring the greatness and beauty and the wholeness of working together and reflecting the Tao. You do not have to bend down anymore. You do not have to dig deep to see this, the wisdom of the rising and the setting sun, of the greatness and the necessity for us to honor one another and stop trying to dominate one another or blame each other. In what ways in your life could you smooth out any rough edges with the men in your life or the women in your life? In what ways could you stop comparing and competing and conflicting and instead choose to work together? Smoothing this out, harmonizing the relational field of the Tao, of our culture, of our relationships, within the multiple parts of ourselves, the relationships within our families and our partnerships, our relationships and our culture, and our relationships to these greater forces of the rising and setting sun, to rivers flowing to the ocean, to harmonizing the Tao. Starting to let this circle hold its integrity. And yet we're going to move just a little smaller and softer. And even more intentional, making this circle something more manageable. You don't have to overextend or overdo. Just work with what's right here, right in front of you, within your grasp, within your reach. And making this circle even smaller. Smoothing it out, softening, spiraling. This is starting to become a spiral now. Spiraling toward the center. Spiraling toward the center. You're moving from your center. Your hands are merely reflections of the movement from your center. Starting to make this even smaller. So you can integrate and embody, and you can start to draw this in, swirling it, swirling it, swirling it. Now make your fingers like pointed, and as you inhale, draw this spiral, this circle, this representation of the Tao. Draw it right into your navel, creating a way for you to plug in to the Tao. And as you inhale, you're drawing that circle, that harmony, that awareness into your body, into your belly, into your dantian. Beautiful. And from here, we'll start to complete. We'll just simply lift our hands, bring our feet a little closer together, and let your hands float down. We're going to shower chi, meaning you're going to draw earth energy up, yin energy, and you're going to draw heaven energy down, yang energy, and you're going to mix the two of them, continuing this practice of working, creating harmony within. One is not greater than the other. One is not more beautiful or more special or more spiritual than the other. Through harmony, we create beauty, and our sums are much greater than our parts. Integrating, this is our final pass, completing this practice so that you feel whole and complete, attuned to the Tao. This time, shift your weight, lift your foot, bring your hands down, integrating, completing, letting gravity do all the work as you seal this in. Seal this practice in so that you are a living, breathing, whole being following the Tao. Sealing this into your belly, making a nice soft circle, stirring it in one direction and then the other direction. And together we bow. May you rise like the sun every day. Right hand rises, make a fist. So from this perspective, the noonday sun is rising. From this perspective, we cover that fist with our yin hand. From this perspective, that noonday sun is setting. Hold the perspective. Bring them together, and together we bow. We bow to the men in our lives. We bow to the women in our lives. We bow to the rivers that flow to the ocean. We bow to the greatest and the most beautiful. We bow to each other, all of us that are live here today. We bow to our teachers, teachers, and the teacher within. Bringing this back to your heart. We do not store it here, we store it in our belly. And we step back across the threshold, carrying with us this softer, smoother, more integrated perspective of men and women in the Tao and our role. And I would love to hear what you received from this practice. Share with us all in the comments, like what insights, what challenges you have currently with the men and women in your life. And loves, if you don't have a copy of the book yet, you can get it. There'll be a link below. And I would love to see you in Qigong class. We're starting soon, and I'll see you next week. Okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you.